It was a story about me. My mum passed away and my dad remarried. At 17, I was ready for a fresh start. 4 years. I had been forced to grow up too quickly, carrying burdens that shouldn't have been mine. After my mom passed away, my dad remarried. I wanted him to be happy. I really did. But the new family dynamic smothered me. His wife, and especially her daughter, Lily, came in like a storm. And suddenly, they were taking up every corner of my life. Lily, who's 13 now, has always been spoiled, getting her way with tantrums and screaming until someone gave in. I tried to tolerate it at first, but it became clear pretty fast I couldn't stand her. She wasn't my sister, and I didn't want to be forced into playing the role. But that's exactly what my dad and stepmom expected. It didn't matter what I wanted. They kept telling me, be a big sister. Do things with Lily. Take her out. It was relentless. But this summer was supposed to be different. I had been planning a trip with my friends to a cabin in the mountains to celebrate graduating from high school. It was meant to be my escape a month away from the chaos, the expectations, and most of all, Lily. One night, I was in my room on the phone, talking to my friend about the trip. I didn't even notice that Lily had snuck in and hidden in my closet, eavesdropping. Suddenly, she burst out, demanding to know if she could come along. I told her no flat out. She stomped her feet and ran downstairs, crying to our parents, as usual. Not long after, my dad called me downstairs and asked me if I could just take her. She could use a vacation, he said. Like it was my job to make that happen for her. I wasn't having it. You and your wife can take her on a vacation. I told him. I'm not watching her for 3 weeks. That's when my stepmom chimed in, calling me selfish. She said if Lily didn't go, then neither would I since my dad was paying for part of the trip. In that moment, I felt something break inside me. I looked her right in the eye and said, you don't get a say in this. You're not my mom. Stop forcing your daughter on me. I could hear Lily crying in the background, saying that I was a terrible sister. I finally snapped. I don't want to be your sister, and I don't want to spend time with you. She ran off in tears, and my dad looked at me like I was the problem. If you don't let her go, I'm not paying for your trip, he said. I was so angry. Fine, I told him. If you take this from me, I'm done. I'll move out, and I won't forgive you for it. He didn't believe me, so I packed a bag and went to my Aunt Helen's house. The only place where I felt understood. Aunt Helen listened to everything, and without hesitation. She offered to cover what my dad took away. She told me I could stay with her when I needed, and I knew she meant it. I told my dad my plan, and he blew up at me. He said I was being a brat, that his wife and Lily were my family now. But I didn't care. I wasn't going to back down. When the day of the trip came, I was long gone before my dad even woke up. He called me 5 hours into the drive, but it was too late to stop me. The cabin was exactly what I needed: peace, laughter, friends, freedom. For nearly a month, I didn't have to think about Lily or my dad or all the ways they tried to make me something I wasn't. I felt alive, more myself than I had in years. But when I got back, the tension in the house was worse than ever. My dad and I fought, and his wife accused me of leaving them in the lurch because they couldn't find anyone to watch Lily. Eventually, after hours of arguing, my dad and I agreed that maybe we needed some space. He thought it would help us rebuild our relationship, but it hurt to know that my own home was no longer a place I belonged. I moved in with Aunt Helen full-time after that. My dad and I started going to family therapy, just the two of us. For the first time in years, I felt like he was actually listening to me. I told him everything, the way I felt invisible, the way Lily always came first, the resentment that had been building for so long. And for a while, it seemed like we were making progress. But then, he asked if his wife and Lily could join us in therapy, too. I didn't even hesitate. No, I said. I have no interest in building a relationship with them. That's when his wife lost it. She called me a selfish, ungrateful child. And my dad just sat there in silence. He didn't defend me. He didn't stop her. So, I walked out and haven't spoken to him since. It's been almost a month. The weird part is, I don't know if I care anymore. I'm hurt. Sure. But I'm also free. I'm finally in college. Living on campus. Surrounded by people who don't demand anything from me except to be myself. I'm in an honors club and a creative writing group. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I belong somewhere. I've also started seeing a therapist to help me process my mom's death, something my dad never thought I needed. I'm realizing how much I've held inside for so long. But now, I have space to deal with it. And then there's Aunt Helen. She's been more of a mom to me than anyone. Especially now. She's pregnant, something we never thought would happen, and I'm going to be a godmother. When she told me, I was so happy. But part of me was scared too. She's the only family I have left. And I don't want to lose her. I told her that. And she hugged me and promised that she'd never leave me. That she was here for good. We cried together. And I believed her. She's the one person I know will always be there. I'm planning her baby shower. And I can't wait to meet the little one. I might not have my dad. But I have her. And that's enough. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm finally living my own life. And it feels good. Was my behavior wrong or not?